Building wealth doesn't get harder as you go. It actually gets easier. And that might sound backwards, but the numbers don't lie. The first $100,000 takes the longest, feels the slowest, and pushes the hardest. It's the point where most people burn out, not at $1 million, not even halfway there, but right at the start. You sacrifice, you stay disciplined, you cut back on things you enjoy, and still the needle barely moves. But what most people never realize is that once you cross that 100K line, the next 100K takes half the time, then the next even less, and before long you're adding 100K every single year. So why is getting to $100,000 the hardest part of all? That's exactly what I'll show you and Josh in this video. I'll show you what changes once you cross that 100K mark, how compounding starts doing the heavy lifting, and how the curve of wealth begins to bend upward. We'll break down the 3 levers that get you there faster and how to build systems that keep working even when motivation runs out. And in the end, I'll show you how a real-world portfolio example, one that follows all the steps and turns a single one-time investment of $10,000 into a $1.6 million portfolio that pays over $120K a year in dividend income. But first, let's understand the psychology of getting to the first $100,000. The toughest part of building wealth isn't really the math, it's how math makes you feel. When you're aiming for your first $100,000, every dollar looks small against the goal. You save $300, but compared to the finish line, it feels invisible. That mismatch between effort and visible results creates frustration. People quit here, not because they can't save, but because it feels like saving doesn't matter. Suppose you've managed to build $20,000. A 10% return in the market would add $2,000 in a year. Helpful, sure, but not life-changing. If you're adding $500 every month on top, you'd end the year at around $28,000. Objectively, that's progress. Subjectively, it feels like you're crawling when you want to sprint. This is the psychology of the first 100K. Every dollar feels heavy, every unexpected expense feels like a setback, and every sacrifice feels bigger than the reward. It's the scarcity mindset in action, the sense that money is always scarce, never enough. Pair that with delayed gratification fatigue, the endless cycle of saying no to things you want, and the path can feel unbearable. The trick is reframing. Instead of looking at dollars, think in percentages. Growing from $20,000 to $28,000 in a year is a 40% leap when you include contributions. That's massive. And instead of seeing $100 as too small, see it as hiring a worker. That $100 invested is a tiny employee who never sleeps and keeps working forever. This mental grind explains why so many people quit early. But if you push through, you'll hit a point where the math finally shifts in your favor, the 100K tipping point. Let's make it real with an example. Imagine you've got $10,000 invested and Josh has $100,000. You both earn the same 7% return in a year. You make $700, Josh makes $7,000. Same percentage, completely different story. For a lot of people, $7,000 is more than they can save in an entire year, and Josh didn't have to lift a finger for it. His money did the heavy lifting. That's the tipping point. Before 100K, your progress depends almost entirely on you, your paycheck, your discipline, your consistency. After 100K, compounding finally starts carrying some of the load. Your capital becomes a partner in the process, and the growth starts to feel real. And then there's the added bonus. It's not just the math that shifts, it's your mindset. With 100K behind you, you stop thinking only about saving harder and start thinking about making your money work smarter. Even market dips feel less scary because you've got a cushion. Instead of just surviving the grind, you're building something that grows on its own. The hard part is simply lasting long enough to reach that moment, and the fastest way to do it isn't by working yourself into the ground, it's by using the 3 levers of wealth: offense, defense, and efficiency. Offense is about earning more. Think of your income as the faucet filling your wealth bucket. The wider it opens, the faster the bucket fills. Asking for a raise, negotiating a better contract, or switching jobs for higher pay can accelerate savings far more than cutting small expenses ever will. And there are flexible ways to boost income on the side: tutoring, freelancing, consulting, reselling, or gig work. Even more powerful is skill stacking, learning a high-value skill. Coding, copywriting, design, project management increases your long-term earning power. An extra $5,000 a year earned from a stronger skill base doesn't just boost your savings once. It compounds for decades. The earlier you upgrade your earning power, the more time you give those extra dollars to grow. Defense is about keeping what you earn. Plenty of people earn well but build little wealth because their money leaks away. Subscriptions they don't use, impulse purchases, lifestyle upgrades. All of these drain momentum. Defense means protecting your savings gap, the space between income and expenses. Practical defense doesn't mean living like a monk, it means being intentional. Drive a reliable used car instead of buying new. Make coffee at home instead of paying $6 daily. Cook simple meals a few nights a week instead of defaulting to takeout. Each choice leaves more room in your budget. The bigger the gap, the faster you accelerate. Efficiency is about making your money work smarter. A dollar sitting idle is wasted potential. A dollar invested wisely becomes a worker who builds more dollars. Start with the basics. Use tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or HSAs. These accounts shield your gains from taxes and allow your money to grow faster. Pay attention to fees. A 1% annual fee may sound small, but over decades it can erase 5 to 6 figures from your portfolio. Low-cost index funds not only minimize fees but often outperform higher-cost funds managed by professionals. Automating is part of efficiency too. Set up automatic transfers into savings and investments. Systems don't forget, and they don't get emotional. Automation ensures consistency, which is the real driver of long-term results. When offense, defense, and efficiency work together, wealth building shifts from a crawl to a steady sprint. Each lever reinforces the other. Higher income allows for more savings. Smart spending closes the gap. Efficient investing multiplies every dollar. This is how you reach 100K the fastest. And once you cross that milestone, the math begins to change. You see, wealth doesn't grow in a straight line. It follows a curve. At first, the line is almost flat, but after a certain point, usually around that first $100,000, the line starts to bend upward. Progress that once felt painfully slow suddenly speeds up. Let's look at the numbers, with an example of a single portfolio growing over time. At $10,000, a 7% return adds just $700 in a year. It's nice, but it won't change your life. As the balance climbs to $50,000, thanks to a mix of offense, defense, and efficiency, the same return now brings in $3,500 a year. By the time the portfolio reaches $100,000, the yearly growth will be $7,000. For many people, that's more than they could save in a year, and it happens automatically. Keep pulling on those levers and let the balance rise to $250,000, and the gains leap to $17,500. And when the portfolio reaches $500,000, it will grow by $35,000 a year without you working extra hours. Each stage is the same percentage growth, but the absolute gains accelerate because the base is larger. That's the curve of wealth. Slow at the start, then bending upward as compounding takes over. In the end, I'll show you a real-world portfolio example, one that follows all the steps and turns a single one-time investment of $10,000 into a $1.6 million portfolio that pays over $120,000 a year in dividend income. Back to the chart. This upward growth is what's often called the flywheel effect. A flywheel is heavy and hard to push at first, but once it's spinning, it takes less effort to keep it moving, and eventually, momentum does most of the work. Wealth works the same way. The early stage feels slow because the curve is flat. You're putting in the effort but not yet seeing the payoff. Once you hit a certain balance though, the line bends upward, and the returns themselves begin to outpace your contributions. And the best way to picture this curve in action is with one of the simplest metaphors in finance: the snowball effect. This is one of the clearest ways to show how wealth grows. At first, it's small and awkward, and you have to keep nudging it forward. But as it rolls down the hill, it starts picking up more snow. Each turn makes it bigger, and the bigger it gets, the faster it grows. That's exactly how money works. Every dollar you invest earns returns. Those returns get reinvested, and the cycle repeats. Over time, the snowball becomes massive. And here's the key: the snowball doesn't just grow because of effort, it grows because of structure. That structure originates from systems that run independently of you. Discipline will get you started, but systems are what keep wealth growing. Relying on willpower means battling temptation every single day, and sooner or later, emotions win. Systems remove that fight. Automated transfers to savings, automatic investments into index funds, or a portfolio of your choice, and recurring debt payments create a structure that works even when you're not paying attention. These guardrails make progress consistent and remove the risk of backsliding. Once the systems are in place, something else changes: the way you see yourself. Crossing $100,000 isn't just financial, it's psychological. Before, you saw yourself as someone chasing money. After, you begin to see yourself as someone building wealth. Your mindset shifts from worker to builder, from consumer to manager of assets. Every dollar stops looking like spending power and starts looking like an employee you've hired to work for your future. This identity change builds confidence. That confidence reduces panic during downturns and keeps you focused on long-term growth. And with that new identity, you're ready to think beyond today and play the long game. Wealth after 100,000 isn't about working harder. It's about using time as leverage. With a cushion behind you, you can wait for the right opportunities instead of rushing into decisions. This patience allows you to hold through market dips, buy undervalued assets, or time major moves like real estate purchases. Higher balances also unlock better terms, lower fees, broader diversification, and access to investments that weren't available before. The long game is built on patience, discipline, and smart systems. And when those three work together, the reason wealth gets easier after 100,000 becomes clear. After that milestone, the rules change. The math shifts. Compounding finally produces results bigger than what you're adding in. The psychology shifts. You feel calmer and more confident. The systems shift. Automation takes the pressure off your willpower. And the scale shifts. Bigger balances accelerate growth faster than you thought possible. Most people give up in the flat part of the curve, quitting just before all of this starts working in their favor. But the ones who stay the course discover that each milestone feels lighter, the curve gets steeper, and the wealth engine begins running on its own. And there's one final habit that makes this shift even more powerful: reinvestment. Reinvestment is what separates slow progress from wealth that really takes off. Without it, your portfolio only grows from new contributions and price gains. Dividends might land in your account, but if you spend them or let them sit idle, they stop working. The curve stays flatter, and each milestone takes longer to reach. Let's make it real with an example. Say you put $1,000 into a stock priced at $20, and it pays a 5% dividend. That's $50 in the first year. If you just take the cash, you end up with the same $1,000 invested and $50 sitting in your pocket. Nothing really changes. But if you reinvest that dividend, you buy a little more stock, about 2.5 extra shares. Now, instead of just $1,000 invested, you've got $1,050 working for you. In year 2, your dividend isn't $50 anymore, it's closer to $52.50. Reinvest that, and in year 3, the payout climbs again. Now you're earning dividends not just on your original $1,000, but also on the dividends you reinvested along the way. It's a small difference at first, but it also follows the snowball effect, which we saw a little earlier. Reinvestment adds another layer of compounding on top of what you're already getting from stock growth. Over time, that extra layer is what makes the snowball grow faster and faster. And this is why reinvestment is such a powerful habit. But of course, it works best when you're invested in the right kinds of companies. So the real question becomes, how do you choose the stocks that actually fuel this compounding engine? When people start investing, the question usually sounds like, which stock should I buy? But the better question is, what kind of stocks should I look for? Because wealth doesn't come from guessing the next big winner, it comes from owning businesses that compound over time. The best way to think about stock selection is to balance 3 qualities. First, you have to look for a healthy dividend yield, often in the 2 to 4% range. It's enough to give you a steady income without signaling a company that's overextending itself. Don't go chasing high dividend yields, it's a trap. Those payouts often get cut. Second, you have to look for a track record of dividend growth. A business that consistently raises its payouts by 10% or more each year is showing strength, discipline, and confidence in the future. And third, you have to look for long-term price appreciation. Dividends are powerful, but the real portfolio acceleration happens when your shares themselves also keep climbing in value. Put those together and you have a portfolio that pays you now, pays you more later, and grows in the meantime. And when you spread those across different industries, or include an ETF that does the diversification for you, you're not building a portfolio on luck, but on momentum. And with that framework in place, let's look at a real-world portfolio example that shows exactly how compounding plays out over time. We'll start with a strong foundation, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, ticker symbol SCHD. It gives you broad diversification with a dividend yield of about 3.73%, consistent dividend growth of 10.77% a year, and solid share price appreciation of roughly 8.4% annually. This acts as the steady core of the portfolio. On top of that, we add Kroger, ticker KR. It doesn't have the flashiest numbers, but it's steady and reliable, with a dividend yield of 2.05%. dividend growth of around 13.1% a year, and price appreciation of roughly 6.14% annually. To bring in more balance, we include Rexford Industrial Realty, ticker REXR. It offers a dividend yield of 3.97%, dividend growth averaging 13.45%, and annual price appreciation of about 12.62%. It's a great mix of income and growth in one package. For faster acceleration, there's Federal Agricultural Mortgage with a ticker symbol AGM, offering a 3.14% yield, dividend growth of 25.27% annually, and share appreciation averaging 21.47% per year. And finally, we round things out with Interparfums, ticker IPAR. It offers a dividend yield of 3%, dividend growth of around 20.26%, and annual appreciation of about 15.64%. It adds momentum and diversification from a different sector. Next step is to calculate the portfolio metrics, starting with dividend yield. Think of the portfolio yield as a weighted average of each holding's yield. Because this table treats every stock as an equal slice, we use an equal weight average. List the 5 yields: 3.73%, 2.05%, 3.97%, 3.14%, and 3%. Add them up, and then divide by 5. The sum is 15.89. Divide by 5, and you get 3.178%. Rounded to 2 decimals, that's a portfolio dividend yield of 3.18%. You can do the same for dividend growth rate and share price appreciation. Using the same equal weight approach here, the portfolio's 10-year dividend growth rate is 16.57%, and the portfolio's annual share price appreciation is 12.85%. The next step is to see what those numbers actually mean in real life. A snapshot is helpful, but wealth is built over years, not in a single moment. So let's run the clock forward and look at how this portfolio grows when you give it time to compound. Let's say Josh invested $10,000 only in his portfolio. In year 1, the portfolio will grow to about $12,000. By year 10, it will be valued at around $47,000, with $2,000 in annual dividends. By year 20, the balance is projected to grow to nearly $249,000, and dividends rise to about $13,000 annually. The final decade is where transformation happens. Then comes the final decade, the stage where compounding transforms everything. By year 30, the portfolio is projected to be valued at around $1.63 million, and annual dividends are expected to reach approximately $122,000, which is over $10,000 a month in dividend income. And if we zoom in on the milestones, you can really see the curve bending. The first 100K shows up in year 15, then 200K by year 18, 300K by year 21, 400K by year 23. From there, the leaps get bigger. 500K in year 24, 600K in year 25, 700K in year 26, 900K in year 27. In the final stretch, the portfolio rockets past 1.1 million, then 1.3 million, and finishes at 1.6 million by year 30. The graph makes it clear. The first stage feels slow, but compounding explodes later, with the biggest leaps coming right at the end. And this is the reason building wealth gets easier after $100,000. That's the point where the math finally tips in your favor. Your portfolio is large enough for compounding to matter, your dividends are big enough to reinvest meaningfully, and your mindset shifts from carrying the snowball to simply steering it. After that, each milestone takes less time, the curve steepens, and the wealth engine begins running on its own momentum. Want to know how to turn a one-time $500 investment into a portfolio that pays over $5,000 in monthly dividend income? Click the video on screen to find out.